Hello there, welcome to Brian Lomax's Movie Talk and my review of Alfred Hitchcock's 1956 film The Man Who Knew Too Much, which stars James Stewart and Doris Day. This is a bit of an initiation for me with regards to Doris Day. I do know of her, obviously her status. She's a pretty big name performer, especially in her day. A lot of her music kind of carries through into a lot of other films. I remember hearing "Que Sera, Sera" for the first time in the film Heathers, and so definitely has had an impact on culture, on pop culture. But this is the first time I've actually watched her in a film, and I don't know, she's one of those actresses that to look at, I don't know, I guess as a younger man, I didn't find her all that attractive or whatever, and as sad as it is, my stupid male brain just kind of didn't really gravitate to any of her work as a result of that. But, we all grow up. And I've got to say, watching this film, she's a brilliant performer. And, of course, a very attractive woman, I must say, by now. But that is, like I say, of zero consequence. This film follows, basically, her character and her husband, played by James Stewart, and they're on holiday in Morocco, and they stumble across this assassination plot. This spy is killed, and he gives them information. He whispers this information into James Stewart's ear about this assassination plot, and then the people involved in that plot steal this couple's son in order to keep them quiet. So keep your gob shut or else your son gets it. So then it becomes this investigation by the two of them to try and track down their son. So very typically Hitchcock, I would say. You've got the kind of normal family kind of getting caught up in something much bigger, and it's very good. It's a good example, when I look back on what I've reviewed already, and I did Saboteur, that was probably a poor example. This is a good example of Hitchcock at his best, doing that kind of story. And it seems very evident to me that Hitchcock did a lot of his best work when he worked with James Stewart. I love James Stewart, I've got to say. Every time I see him in something, he never lets me down. And a lot of people would probably argue that he's often quite the same in a lot of what he does. I just think he's very easy. It's very easygoing kind of persona that he puts across on screen, and that comes across in most of his work. And that's what I like about him. That's what makes me gravitate towards him. He is the everyman, isn't he? But Doris Day, as I say, sits very well alongside him as the other half of this double act. And I got to say that most of the fun I had from this film came from watching those two together. It was really nice to see. There's a few little detours as well throughout the story, as there was with Saboteur, but whereas the Saboteur's detours kind of just seemed really random and took us down coincidental avenues, shall we say, this feels a bit more natural. Like there's this bit where they're trying to find this person who they believe to be a person. It actually turns out to be a location, but it makes for a nice little detour, and the humour that arises out of that is actually pretty funny. This part where Stewart goes into this factory where taxidermy, so they're doing taxidermy, and when stuff starts kicking off and he's demanding for his son, all these taxidermists are running around trying to save these these models that are being done, or these, I don't know what you'd call them, stuffed animals, trying to save these stuffed animals from being broken and whatnot, because their bodies are flailing around everywhere, and it's genuinely humorous. I think humour from Hitchcock is definitely a strength when it's planted or sprinkled throughout more of his serious work, rather than, say, as with The Trouble with Harry, when he tried to do it for the full length of the film. This film is also a remake, as it turns out, of one of Hitchcock's own films. So he's remade his own film, much in the same way that Funny Games was remade by its own director. So I've not seen that film, but on the strength of this, I do kind of want to. I want to see what the differences are, because this is a chance that Hitchcock felt that he had to improve on his own work. So it'd be interesting to go back and see that film and see where where he thought he'd stumbled, where he thought he could make improvements. But yeah, so far not seen it, but I definitely will check it out. The film feels like it's on quite a big canvas as well at times, because like when they go to Morocco, they've clearly done a lot of shooting in Morocco. They've gone on location, but I feel like maybe not with the lead actors. I feel like a lot of their stuff was probably done in the studio, because when we cut in close we see like green screen stuff behind them. But even with the the pickups later, the second unit stuff where they've gone out, they've taken shots of Morocco, they've used it very well. They've matched it up very well to the studio footage, and it does make the film feel very large, very cinematic. Probably much bigger budget than it actually was. I mean, I don't know what the budget of this was, but either way, I just think the way Hitchcock uses that stuff, he does it very effectively, and it makes this feel like a bit like I said previously, almost like a Bond film where you're going all around the world to different locations, exotic locales. Something I think that Hitchcock is very adept at doing, and it does breathe a lot of life into the film. John Michael Hayes is back on script duty, and he does an excellent job. I think he redeems himself here after the trouble with Harry. I think maybe that film might need another watch from me, I don't know. But yeah, he's back of the quality that I expected of him after seeing Rear Window. I think the dialogue in this film feels very natural. Again, a lot of that is that relationship between husband and wife, between Stewart and Day. Half of that obviously is the quality of the acting talent, but a lot of it as well is just that naturalistic dialogue from Hayes. In the modern world of superhero movies and spy thrillers like Bourne and Bond, it can often feel like our central characters, our heroes, are a bit too superheroic, like they don't really have that much chance of failing. So it's quite refreshing to see a film like this in which we have just the ordinary guy, and that's what it's about really. It's about this ordinary couple striving to get their son back, and I like the teamwork between the two of them. It is refreshing, to see something like this, and they made films like this all the time way back when, but these days it does feel, it feels refreshing to see something like this. Bernard Herrmann also does a great job on the score, never feeling intrusive, but really adding to the moments of suspense. Herrmann basically was a master. We all know his Psycho score, but yeah, it's easy to forget just how good he was throughout his entire career, to be honest, and that's just as equally so here. Also great in the cast are Brenda de Banzi and Bernard Miles, who play this couple, the Draytons, who they're basically the ones who take this couple's child. But I just like the way they're played. I think the chemistry between them feels very good. It feels very natural, like they are genuinely a married couple. But I like as well where we go. They're not out and out villains. Maybe one of them is, but one of them we do get to see a softer side. We do get to see a more sympathetic side, and it rounds them out as human beings rather than just baddies for the sake of being baddies. So yeah, that's again another strength in the screenplay, making these characters feel real, making them feel human. I had a lot of fun with this film. I think if you're into your thrillers, this is definitely one to check out, and I can see how a lot of films have probably riffed on this over the years. I think an immense lot of fun, great chemistry with all the actors, particularly Stewart and Day, and I can see myself watching this again and again. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. But what about you? Have you seen The Man Who Knew Too Much? And if so, what did you think about it? And if you've seen the original, please let me know how you think it compares. Is it an improvement or was it unnecessary? Comment below, let me know, and until next time, cracking.